Hi, my friend. So, remember in our previous lesson, we learned how to color items on our page? Today, we're going to learn how to set the background and borders, which are pretty much the most basic visual adjustments you can make. So, we'll use the background color for many different things like text, divs, tables, etc. We'll write some text on the screen to experiment. Now, for example, we can add a list. Let's write a list of the fruits that we love. All right, so I'm hungry, but I like to keep it healthy too. Write a header on our list, my favorite fruits. And first, we specify that our list will be out of order with the U1 tag. So we're adding our list with the LI tag. So I particularly love watermelon. So I'm going to write this in the first row. Then, cherries, they're not bad either. And of course, we've got to add the strawberry. All right, so that's enough for now. Our list is ready to experiment with. So let's start. So instead of writing the features, what we'll, because you have to do that over and over again, let's write this in a CSS file that we're going to create and use it wherever we want, right? So we'll create a new file for it. And we'll write CSS and its extension to indicate that it is indeed a CSS file. Now, of course, we have to connect our HTML file and our CSS file. And to do that, we'll use the link tag. So all we have to do is write our CSS file to the href attribute. And the important point here is that this CSS file should be in the same place as our HTML file. All right, so now we can start with the background. Now, as I said earlier, we can determine the background color of a variety of things. For example, we can set the color for our header background. So for this, write H1 in our CSS file and open and close the parenthesis, then type background RGB 258080 into that. Now save the file and refresh the page, and what do you see? The header background color is now the color that we entered instead of white. So let's say that we want to change the background color of our page. What do we got to do? Well, for this, we will write body in our CSS file and open it and close the parenthesis. Then we write the background and write the color that we want. For example, let's write it in green. Now, how would the background of our page have a beautiful sea view instead of a solid color? For this, we'll need the address of a picture that we would like to add. I'll do a little search if you want to on Google and just pick any picture. This picture is fine to me. And just copy the address of the picture and paste it into the CSS file. Save it and refresh the page again. There it is. The background is a beautiful sea vista. However, not exactly what we wanted. Our picture couldn't quite fill the page completely because it's small. Did you notice that? Okay, so hang on. The page is covered by pasting the picture side by side, and under it, we might not want the picture to be repeated this way. So what do? We'll need to set the background repeat property to no repeat. But of course, this image isn't quite working well for us. It would be most logical for this picture to cover the whole page, don't you think? So to do this, we can add the background size, property, and cover. And we'll set that. All right, so that makes sense for this picture, but there's some blur in the picture because the resolution is not really high enough. So when we set a background image, just remember to choose images with as high a resolution as possible. All right, so now let's move on to the border. So as with any background color, we can add borders to many objects. So in doing so, we'll need to add three basic properties that the border should have by adding values. So these are width, style, and color. For example, let's add borders to our header. Border color blue. And let's save and refresh our page, and let's just see if the border has shown up. Okay, so nothing came up because we entered only one of the three properties of the border. Did you catch that? Cool. So now let's go back and add our other two features. Border width, we'll call it 5 pixels. And that way the border will be 5 pixels thick, right? And border style solid. That way we'll determine the type of border with this feature. It's, a type of pattern. Solid is a type of pattern, actually. So let's save and refresh the page again, and sure enough, the header now has a beautiful blue border. Of course, it didn't quite make sense to write 3 lines of code just to make a border, does it? So why don't we combine these 3 lines in one line, and we'll do it like this. Border, 5 pix, solid blue. And by writing this, we just gave what we want in one line. So let's make another border example to end this lesson. For example, border 2 pixel, dashed line, and get this color that we used before in our colors. And it looks like this. All right. So today we have learned how to add colors and images for the background, and we can see how to make some related settings. And then we saw how we can get in there to add borders to items on our page and how to edit those borders. So that's cool. Play around with that. And we're going to learn some new topics in our upcoming lesson. So goodbye for now.